I'm in Vietnam, the cheapest country in the world, and today I'll be attempting to live like a king on just £20 a day here in Da Nang. That's exactly 660,000 Vietnamese dong, which can cover 3 meals, transport and accommodation. We'll be asking tourists on their thoughts about Da Nang, staying at a hotel with an ocean view for under £10, and trying a dish from an animal that's kept as a pet in many different countries. But there's just one problem that comes with being here. Many tourists have such bad experiences with locals being rude. Therefore, I want to find out for myself if they are truly welcoming or not. We might be on a tight budget, but that's not going to stop us from enjoying 3 very special meals. And just know we had to start the morning right with breakfast being banh mi. This right here is a Vietnamese sandwich made with a mix of different vegetables, meats and pate. The French basically introduced Vietnam to the baguette in the late 1800s, and the Vietnamese people creatively adapted their own flavors to it. This right here is probably the only good thing that's come from the French occupation. I went for the grilled pork egg banh mi, coming to a total of only 20,000 dong. And with the first bite, I was presented with a crisp hard exterior, which then transformed into this beautiful soft and fluffy bite. There was a mix of different sweet, salty, umami flavors exploding in my esophagus, which came from the grilled pork, pate and fried shallots. And this was all tamed with the addition of the fresh vegetables and the omelette. I noticed that the lady that owned the shop came across really reserved. I tried to give her a few smiles here and there in the least creepiest way possible, but she just chose to ignore me completely. However, she was great at what she did. But it wasn't long before I was reminded by what I was going to be eating for dinner, with the main ingredient being an animal that's often kept as a pet in several different countries. The nerves started to kick in. And what better way to distract myself than some free activities? Da Nang is known to have some beautiful beaches, especially this one right here called Mai Ki Beach. So what can you do for free? Well, let me show you. I started with a walk on the beach. I did some sunbathing until I realized I was brown, offered myself as a sacrifice to the ocean but ended up surviving, completed a beach workout session, and then I spectated a volleyball game from a distance while trying not to end up on the registry. I was actually really enjoying myself, but I was really curious to hear what others really thought of this place, so I decided to walk around until I found my victim of choice to interrogate. This man right here, his name's Ian, and he was flying this kite looking like he'd unlocked the key to inner peace, and I really wanted to speak to him. So I asked him about his thoughts on this place. Have you been living here long? Or
no, we're really here on holiday.
Yeah,
Our
sweet.
son lives here.
Okay.
Alright, in Da Nang.
Yeah.
So we just came down to visit him.
Visit him, nice.
We've
Yeah,
been here
sweet.
for 5 weeks.
Yeah, enjoying yourself.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, nice.
Shame we go back next Tuesday.
What's been your favourite thing here?
Flying my kite.
Yeah.
That's the honest truth.
Yeah.
That's the honest truth. Going to the bars, enjoying, having a nice drink,
Yeah.
food with some family.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
I was actually really happy that I got the chance to speak to Ian, but I noticed that most of the tourists here thoroughly looked like they were at peace and open to conversation. But there was a huge difference when it came to interacting with the Vietnamese locals. I noticed the locals were very avoidant and many of them refrained from smiling or even just making eye contact. I couldn't tell if this was intentional or just a cultural difference, but I really wanted to understand. It was almost time to check into my hotel and I'm really excited to show you what money can buy here on a budget. But before that, it was time to eat for a quick lunch. As I sat down, I was welcomed by a younger Vietnamese man. And he couldn't really speak much English, but his smile and attitude made me feel so welcome, which was a huge difference to what I was used to. I ordered bun xeo, which is this Vietnamese savory pancake, and it's generally topped with different types of meat. And this one had squid and prawns on it. It's eaten with a combination of vegetables, but there's some manual labor required before you eat this. To assemble, wrap rice paper around your vegetables and pancake of choice and then dunk it into a combination of different sauces. The pancake was crispy, vegetables were fresh and crunchy, and the peanut sauce added a nutty flavor to the bite, and everything came together so beautifully, and I loved how I was able to control the flavors that I tasted. But what I loved even more was knowing that I was welcome here. I was served straight away, and even though there was a language barrier, the waiter tried his best to explain the menu with a positive, welcoming attitude. Although it seemed really small, it genuinely warmed my heart so much. After lunch, I went to a gym costing only 40,000 dong, and once that was complete, it was time to finally check into our hotel so we can see what luxury on a budget looks like. We're at Sea Color Hotel in Mayan, and here you are provided with a bed, an ocean view window, 2 carefully crafted pieces of vintage art, slippers which have a 63% chance of transmitting athlete's foot, a glass of feathers which, upon closer inspection, looks like harmless decoration, but this can also be used as a defensive weapon to scare away any potential intruders. Moving on to the bathroom, a sink, shower, toilet, and if you ever feel lonely, a fully fledged ecosystem growing by the side of the window, capable of communicating with humans. All of this only cost a total of 250,000 dong, which is under £8. And if you book in advance, you can get it as low as £5.91. I was actually shocked as to how cheap everything was, but little did I know, I was about to be left in even greater shock for dinner. I needed a mode of transportation to get me to the restaurant. I ordered a bike taxi through Grab, costing a total of 35,000 dong. My driver then handed me over the thing that I was meant to put all my trust and faith into. The hairs on my head probably have a greater chance of protecting my skull than this helmet. But when you're on a budget, sacrifices need to be made. After arriving safely to the restaurant, I was greeted by a man sitting outside with a lot of enthusiasm. I walked in with feelings of curiosity and fear, dreading what I was about to eat. Mi Wang is a very popular noodle dish in the central parts of Vietnam. It's a flat rice noodle, commonly served with beef, chicken, pork, but I was going to be trying it with an animal that many people keep as a pet. Frogs. Many Westerners are repulsed by the idea of eating this animal, and although I was nervous, I was curious to see how it tasted. It came with a combination of different meats alongside frog, such as pork, chicken, shrimp, and mackerel. I decided to start tasting the broth and the noodles. It was peppery, meaty, and had hints of fishiness to it. Having tasted the broth that the frogs have bathed in, I felt ready to try the frog itself. The flavors of the other meat ranged from peppery to sweet, but the frog was interesting. It was marinated with turmeric, ginger, purple onion, and 5-spice powder. After just one bite, my hesitancy turned into just confusion. It had a taste that resembled chicken, but it had a slightly firmer texture. It was seasoned well, but it almost had a slightly fishy taste to it, which I imagine came from the shrimp. After getting over the mental barrier of eating a frog, I realized that it actually tasted great. The day was coming to an end, and in total, we've only spent 544,000 dong, which works out to £16.43. I was so surprised with how much we did and how little we spent. But the thing that surprised me even more was actually how I felt during my time in Da Nang. When I came here, I had doubts about Vietnamese locals. I was unsure how friendly locals would be based on what others have told me. Feeling welcome in a country is something that I really value, and seeing so much negativity online made me feel very hesitant in coming here. But regardless, I really wanted to be proven wrong. Instead, I learned how different cultural norms can be all over the world. The idea of respect varies from place to place, and Vietnam generally expresses it in a more reserved way, which can come across avoidant to Westerners. During my time here, I had locals ignore me completely or try to use friendliness for transactional purposes, but I also had locals going above and beyond to make me feel like I belong without any intention other than to just spread kindness. As long as we openly show individuals love and respect, there will always be incredible souls out there that push past these differences to make us feel welcome no matter where we go in this world.